Hey guys, George here. Been a long time since I've made a video. Today's actually a special event, not just for me, but for a very certain couple. I will be performing a marriage ceremony in just a few hours. And as I was preparing this marriage ceremony, it really touched my heart as I began to read over some of the things that Jesus said about marriage. And one thing in particular, let me just go ahead and read the scripture with you. In Mark chapter 10, some Pharisees are trying to catch Jesus up and trick him with the law. So some Pharisees came to Jesus testing him and began to question him with whether it was lawful for a man to divorce his wife. And he answered them and said, "Well, what did Moses command you?" And they said to him, "Well, Moses commanded and permitted a man to write a certificate of divorce and send her away." But Jesus said to them, "Because of your hardness of heart, he wrote this command. But from the beginning of creation, God made male and female, and for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but they are one flesh. And what therefore God has joined together, let no man separate." And you know what really just speaks so loudly and so divinely to me is this, that in the world that we live in today, I mean, divorce is just tragic. And if you've been through a divorce, this is by no means a condemnation to you. But man, when we join in the bonds of marriage, we read a verse like that and say, "Let no man separate what God has joined together." And we fail to realize that as husband and wife, we are included in that "let no man separate." I mean, just think about it. If you've been through a divorce, what were some of the things that led up to that divorce that you could have stopped, that you could have fixed? And if you're thinking about marriage, or if you are married, what are some of the things that you can work on so that you are not that man that will separate what God is putting together? So in today's marriage ceremony, one of my charges to this wonderful couple is that they realize that they are a part of that "let no man separate." That includes us. And when I think about my marriage and I think about my relationship with my wife, as imperfect as that can be at times, I'm charged by God to not let anything separate this marriage, this union, including myself. And it's my son. Yeah, I'm talking, buddy. We let no man separate. Let no man separate, including yourself. I'm talking to the computer, buddy. Say hi. You don't want to say hi? One of the fruits of marriage. Let no man separate. So the next time I'm angry or frustrated with who God has placed me with, my beautiful wife, this verse holds a deep spot in my heart. George, let no man, including yourself, separate what God has joined together. Again, if you have went through the tragedy of divorce, not a condemnation to you in any means, and if you're heading in that direction, if you're married and heading in that direction, I encourage you to let no man, no woman, including yourself, separate what God has placed together. Marriage is to be a holy and holy unity between man and woman that God institutes and that God places together. We get ourselves all wrapped up in that. It becomes about what I want, what I think is best, and I. And sometimes relationships can seem like two ticks sucking the life out of each other. That's not marriage at all. Marriage is two lives, giving of themselves selflessly that the other might live. So today, let no man separate what God has placed together. Love your partner selflessly. Give of yourself spiritually. Give of yourself emotionally. And give of yourself physically. The way Christ gave of himself for the church. For you and I. God bless you. And may your marriages be fruitful. And may the rough times experience the presence of Christ. And may the great times experience the presence of Christ. And may the presence of Christ rule and reign everywhere in between. Love you guys.